Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the panel today. Please briefly share with us what you do in your daily job. And let's start with Ryan.
Sure. Travel Spike, we actually work exclusively online, and with travel and tourism, work with quite a few destinations, help them with online marketing. We actually started the first online travel network back in 2002 and operate the largest online network of its kind. And then we also provide marketing solutions, social media marketing, Web 2.0, blogging. We produced the first luxury travel podcast back in 2006.
Thank you, Roger.
I run a tourism consultancy company. We work almost exclusively for destinations, for DMOs, or those organizations that fund them, governments, regional development agencies, and so on. For the first 5 years of our operation, our work was predominantly in this space. Latterly, it's extended, but obviously the focus today is on the subject matter of this conference.
Conrad?
Discover, it's portal, internet portal, discover.com for my pet in the Alps. It explains destination information and booking capabilities in the region of the Alps. And in the second part, we are a destination marketing provider and to help destinations to make the best marketing with solutions, with tools, but also with services.
Thank you. Olaf?
Yeah, I'm working for the German National Tourist Board, having 29 offices worldwide. And our job is to promote Destination Germany as a leisure travel destination and also a business travel destination. And I'm director of media management and responsible for all kinds of media, print as well as especially online marketing.
Thank you. And Martin?
Yes, I'm working for the Austrian National Tourist Office also. I'm responsible for the research and development department. And this means for all online activities, for the internet strategy, for IT measures, and for the tourism research.
Great, thank you very much. Gentlemen, let's get started. First question, why do a majority of DMOs stick to the old when it comes to innovative digital tools? Let's start with, on the left, with Martin.
Yeah. Well, I think the majority of the NGOs are having limited budget and limited staff, but it doesn't mean that they're not open-minded. And I see and very much see it very positive that even the smaller partners within the European Union as a national tourist board are very open and integrate blogs and social communities. And several projects are not visible now, but there's a lot of going on under the ground and will be launched very soon in several countries in Europe, I'm sure.
Martin?
Yeah, I think I agree totally. Another aspect probably is that we don't have our own sources, and therefore we always have to argue to our stakeholders why we are doing risky projects like Web 2.0 something. Yeah? So it's always difficult to explain, and it takes a time to get an agreement by your stakeholders. This is probably the situation.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. It seems like you know, a tourism board has to answer to their hotels, their tour operators, their attractions, and you know, probably the number one question we get concerning Web 2.0 from the destinations is, can you help us take down the negative hotel reviews on TripAdvisor? You know, so you're kind of constantly battling that factor when you're talking about a destination, and I think a supplier, an airline, and a hotel doesn't have as many constituents to answer to, so I think that impedes some of the progress there. And then also the distribution side, the tour operators, you know, have played a big role for a long time, and now with the internet, some of that is changing, and I think some of the destinations are, from what we've seen, even in the US as well as abroad, are resistant to change.
All right, Roger.
The culture of many organizations is set at the top. And you've got to remember that certainly amongst the more mature DMOs, the people are where they are today because they've been around for a long time. And on the one hand, that may mean that they're pretty skeptical about new technology, particularly the latest trends. It may even mean that they're technophobic. But it also means that they're very comfortable with traditional methods. And essentially they don't want to move out of the comfort space, particularly if, as Martin says, it's going to involve risk. You know, these are people who are getting a lot of money from the public sector, so they tend to be risk averse. But one other factor I think is pretty crucial, and that is that DMOs have always been very poor on the metrics. It's been very difficult actually to measure the effectiveness, the real effectiveness of what they do. So they don't have the measures of effectiveness of the old, so therefore they can't compare with the effectiveness of the new. And it's a new world for them, and you know, they're pretty uncomfortable, I think, moving into the new space.
Conrad?
I think it changes is very difficult in some parts of a DMO. It's difficult to say, yes, we can. So it's much easier to say, to work what we have done the last years. I think two important points, that DMOs often are public companies. They don't have the pressure to earn money. And if you don't have the pressure, it's not important to make new things. And especially also in the digital market, in the online advertising. That's one part, and the second part is the marketing aspect, so that the DMO, it's better to create a print catalog. You can see it, you can see it, but if I spend some monies in the digital market, never from us can see it here. You must look into the PC, so it's not so comfortable to say what we have done in online marketing.
Clear, thank you.
And that's, can I just say, I mean, that's what the stakeholders often look for, don't they? They judge the DMO by the quality of what's immediately visible. And so the DMOs have got to keep the traditional activity going at the same time as moving into the new space. And that's where you maybe get back to budgets, as Olaf was saying.
Okay. So I understand, and Ryan, you said so you get some pushback from DMOs. Now, how do you overcome some of the resistance? What do they tell you, and how do you tell them that it's not true?
Sure. You know, I think education and you know, conferences like these are helping to change that perception. So many times I'm speaking at a conference and you'll hear like snickers from the crowd when you start talking about Facebook or social media or some of the different things that are out there, the new tools. And like he was saying, a lot of people have experience in the destination and they've been around for a while. They've been doing business the same way for 30 years. And I think a lot of them think that the internet is only for teenagers. And when you look, I think the UK has coined the term the silver surfers, and that's one of the fastest growing segments, 55 and older. And you look at the people that are using social media and podcasting. I just had lunch with a German travel journalist, and he said that 60% of the people in Germany that are in that kind of senior age are online. So it's simply not true. A lot of the beliefs that the destinations have is that the marketing is just for the young people. It's changing in the last 12 months.
Okay. So, but I'm sure there are some DMOs, or maybe many, that do have and that have been doing a good job regarding their online promotions and their technology tools. Could any of you give some examples of destinations that really understand what this is all about?
Okay, shall I kick off on that? I don't want to embarrass these guys.
And I'm sure you're going to say Austria and Germany, but
we do have some market leaders here, but you know, there are a number of other market leaders in the UK. Britain, through Visit Britain, Finland has been another market leader. Denmark's done some very good work. And then, well, we'll maybe talk about other parts of the world later on.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments of examples where a tourist board really understands it?
I'd say the Netherlands, you know, Holland.com, certainly very, very advanced. They've got, I think, some of their own internal team that's kind of doing some of those things, and they've got some Web 2.0 tools that they rolled out very early on. We've done some interactive work for both Portugal and Spain, and so they're really starting to embrace it, and we've seen some good results.